fellow oddities, welcome to a new video. Today we'll be covering an aspect of Mortal Kombat that I haven't really covered on the channel as of yet, and that is the realms of Mortal Kombat, specifically which realm would be the best to actually live in. So I'll be going in depth about the diversity, the geography, the construction, and the government of each one of these realms. And the two main things I'll be considering when measuring the living conditions of these realms is entertainment, so things like cool scenery, aesthetics, stuff to do, and also safety, because you don't want to live in a place where you have to look behind your shoulder every 5 seconds to make sure there's not some crazy creature with swords for arms trying to chop your head off. We're good. So I'll be going through different sections, rating them 1 to 10 based on these factors. One last thing, I will not be covering certain realms, and for most of them, it's because we just don't know enough about them, like Zatera, Vaeternus, or the Dream Realm. But there's one realm that we actually know more about than any other realm that I will still not be including in this video, and that's Earthrealm. There's two big problems with including Earthrealm in this video, and the first one is that it's Earth, the planet we live on, so realistically, I shouldn't have to explain to you all these different sections and things about Earth. You should already know it. And the second thing is that you can't really make blanket statements about the Earth like you can for other realms, because every country is different. In fact, they could probably work as realms in and of themselves. So you can't really say the entirety of Earth is like this, because that's just not true. No place is exactly the same. Unlike the other realms, which just have like 1 or 2 gimmicks that you can just place on them and say, hey, that's what this is like, and then move on. So sorry to everyone who is looking to discuss Earth politics in the comments. You're gonna have to go somewhere else for that. So without further ado, let's get started with the realm that's most frequently visited other than Earthrealm, Outworld. Outworld is a very, very diverse place. It has many different creatures and species from all the years of mergings with different realms like Zatera, Vaeternus, and Adenian. It has Saurians, Tarkatans, Kytin, Naknada, vampires, Shokans, centaurs. There's just a lot of different things you can encounter living in Outworld. But Outworld is a bit like Australia in a way. Yeah, there's a lot of different cool creatures, but all of them want to kill you. So while yes, it does get quite a lot of points for diversity, unfortunately the threat of things tearing and ripping you apart is just too high for me to put it any higher than a 7 out of 10. Now when it comes to the geography of Outworld, it's not that great. The coolest thing about it is the purple sky. Sometimes. Other than that, it's just a bunch of wastelands, and not only is it ugly, but it's also very dangerous with there being jagged mountains and huge cliffs, so just like, it's just not a place you want to walk around and be in. So I'm gonna give the geography of Outworld a 2 out of 10. Really, the only reason it's not a 1 is because of sometimes it having a cool purple sky. Now, the construction for Outworld has a lot of potential. There are a lot of cool buildings when they actually put effort into preserving them, like the Emperor's building. Look at that. That looks awesome. It's super gothic, and honestly, it's intimidating, which makes sense for an emperor. But the problem is that that's only for the emperor. It's not for the little people on the ground, aka what you and I would probably be. When it comes to the buildings for just everyday people in use, either they're just super crummy looking, or they're literally falling apart, just crumbling. So if the Emperor of Outworld actually tried to make the architecture of little towns and cities actually really cool, just like their own buildings, then maybe it would be higher, but for now, I'm just gonna give it a 5 out of 10. And the final section we have here is government, probably the most important. And the way Outworld works is that there is one emperor who rules everything, and the way that emperor is decided is kinda complicated. If the previous ruler dies of something like old age or illness or something that doesn't involve another person directly doing it to them, then the next one will be, I'm assuming, their oldest living relative. But if the previous ruler is defeated, then the person who defeated them can take the title unless they don't want it, in which case the previous ruler keeps it, unless they're killed by the person who defeated them, in which case it becomes the oldest living relative. I guess the best way to showcase this is to just go through the new timeline series of events. The first ruler we know of in Outworld is Onaga, but he is killed by Shao Kahn, who becomes the new emperor until he's killed by Raiden, but Raiden is the protector of Earthrealm, so he doesn't really want to be the Khan of Outworld, so instead it goes to Shao Kahn's daughter, Melina, until she is defeated by Kotal Khan, so he becomes the new Khan. And gosh, it's just gonna get more complicated from here. Then Kotal is defeated by Kung Jin, but Kung Jin does not want the title of Khan of Outworld, so Kotal Khan keeps it. But then, through time travel shenanigans, Shao Kahn comes back from the past and reclaims his throne, defeating Kotal Khan. But then Shao Kahn is defeated by a past version of Kitana, also through time travel, and she becomes Kitana Khan. And all of that was worthless because the timeline ends up getting reset, so literally none of that even matters. And when it comes to the laws of Outworld and people's like rights and stuff, it's very beneficial to whoever the emperor is. For example, if someone in Outworld were to murder some random Joe, then there would be no consequences because murder is not illegal in Outworld. But if that person were to instead murder a worker for or relative to the emperor of Outworld, then there would definitely be consequences. Now, this is just all assumptions by me because we don't really have a book of laws for Outworld, but I can take this and kind of apply it to what we have seen. People murder each other in Outworld all the time with seemingly no consequences, unless, of course, like I've said, it's someone that was close to the Emperor. But we have seen someone almost get executed for stealing, and assuming Outworld doesn't really have any privately owned businesses, and all of that money and stuff goes directly to the Emperor, then that would kind of affect the Emperor in a way, so there's punishment for it. Quite strict ones. And mind you, that was Kotal Khan, who out of the 5 Khans we've seen so far, has been one of the nicer ones. So under someone like Melina or Shao Kahn, this system definitely does not work. I do think it has the potential to be barely serviceable under someone like Katana, but at a baseline, I don't think it's good. So for the potential, I'll give it a 4 out of 10, but that's like being generous. And so the overall score Outworld gets when it comes to living conditions, I give it a 5 out of 10. You could live here, but it's a bit of a coin toss whether you'll be brutally murdered or just be fine. And the next realm we'll be covering is Adenian. Now this realm is not very diverse at all. Out of what we've seen so far, it's really just people, just the normal Adenians. And the thing with Adenians, like their main thing is that since they're descended from gods, they live for a very, very long time. So you're gonna have to get used to the Adenians you see because you're gonna be sticking with them for quite a while. So for diversity, I will give it a 2 out of 10. The only reason it's not lower is because Adenians are generally nice people, though some of them are a bit of an a-hole. Now when it comes to geography, it's probably the best out of all the realms. Like this is a very luscious and bright green environment with a very nice looking warm sky. It's honestly kind of like Earth if Earth was slightly less depressing. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10, and the only reason it's not higher is because there is a little bit of danger, especially when they build like buildings on top of huge cliffs. Like that's a bit of a no-no, but also at the same time, that kind of relates to the construction side of things. But the construction more than makes up for the slight danger by having these big, beautiful, grandiose, clean-looking buildings, almost the opposite of Outworld. Which makes Adenia's fate all the more ironic, doesn't it? But yeah, when it comes to aesthetic, Adenia is definitely the best realm. It's just super beautiful to be in and look at. And it must have really sucked witnessing all of that go up in flames and be utterly destroyed. I'm gonna give Adenia's construction a 9 out of 10. The only reason it's not a 10 is just because there's a little bit of danger there. Like, get railings and maybe we can discuss a 10 out of 10 rating. Now lastly, we have Denise Government, which we don't know too much about because the realm didn't last very long, but from what the looks of it are, I'm gonna guess it's some sort of monarchy. Adenia had a king, queen, and prince, and I'm not sure if monarchies are just king or queen, or if they also include king and queens. I don't know if there's a different form of government for that, or if it's just the same thing. Now, despite having a 1 or 2 people rule everything type of government that a lot of people just don't really want to be under, it actually turned out to be quite great for Adenia, as it seemed like the people there were very, very happy. But the one thing that kind of brings the government section down is the fact that it was overthrown by Shao Kahn, causing Adenia to merge into Outworld, which is not good. So clearly they must have had some sort of issue with military, or else that wouldn't have happened the way it did. I'm gonna give government a 7 out of 10, and that also applies to just the overall living conditions of Adenia, a 7 out of 10, which is pretty good. Like, not bad. Now moving on to the Netherrealm, aka just hell. Now starting off with diversity, most of our world is just like Onis and demons that all pretty much look the exact same. Now there are exceptions like Serena, who uses a human disguise, or specters, wraiths, stuff like that. But the problem with the specters and the wraiths and the revenants and all those characters like that is that most of them don't really spend a lot of their time in the Netherrealm. Characters like Scorpion and Noob Saibot you mostly see out and about in Earthrealm or Outworld or some other place that's not the Netherrealm. So most of what you'll see there are just Onis and demons, which is boring, so I'm gonna give this section a 3 out of 10. Geography, I mean, it's a little cool to look at, I guess, but I don't think that makes up for at all the amount of danger you will be in the Netherrealm. Giant jagged rocks that are literally just floating in the air that could probably fall down on you at any time. And oh, not to mention the hot, burning lava that will melt you if you come even close to it. Yeah, I think I'm good. 1 out of 10. Not even a discussion. Now on to construction. The very few places you'll find in the Netherrealm that are actually built are very aesthetically pleasing. Well, not sure if pleasing is the right word, more so cool, I guess. But still, they're very dangerous with them being built high up into the air or just floating in the air and them having like lava flowing through them. That is not safe. It is not a place you want to be, just a place you want to kind of step back from and look at from afar, or maybe just look at pictures. I'll give it a 3 out of 10 just for the aesthetics. Now, when it comes to government for the Netherrealm, it's kind of weird, honestly. There's not a government, but there is a ruler of the Netherrealm. But that ruler doesn't really do anything. Like Shinnok. Shinnok is the ruler of the Netherrealm, but what does he really do for that realm? He doesn't do anything. He just kind of sits there like, I'm the ruler. That's it. Unless you try and like overthrow him or something, he's not really gonna oversee the Netherrealm and like zap people for trying to break the rules, because there are no rules. And of course, if someone were to overthrow him, like of course he's gonna fight back because they're trying to kill him. That's the only way you can become ruler in the Netherrealm. Shinnok really only seems to be the ruler of the Netherrealm because he happened to be the most powerful person there when he was locked away there by the Elder Gods, and he just killed Lucifer and was like, okay, I'm the most powerful guy now. Yes, I'm the ruler. And with a place like the Netherrealm that is very dangerous, you have to have some sort of laws or rules that protect people, or just something that prevents people from just falling into lava whenever, or just being murdered. But at the same time, it's literally hell, so like, what do I expect? Overall, the Netherrealm gets a predictable 2 out of 10. No one is going to be wanting to live in the Netherrealm. Not only is it very, very dangerous, but also it's just kind of boring. It's just like the same place everywhere, besides for just a few buildings that are only made because Shinnok or Quan Chi or someone needed a fortress or something. Now moving on to Sado, or more famously called the Order Realm. Now when it comes to diversity, it's basically the same as Adenia. There's just people there. But this time they don't live quite as long. So I guess that's a plus, kind of. I'm still going to give it a 2 out of 10. The geography of the Order Realm, which you can't really see very often because you're normally way up in the sky, is quite boring. It's just a bunch of green landscapes, nothing to really write home about. I'll give it a 3 out of 10 because at least it's not like actively ugly to look at. The construction is actually pretty dang cool. There's pyramids, these futuristic looking buildings. It's very modern, sleek, clean. I personally love it, but the only problem that brings it down a bit is the fact that it's built super high up into the sky and doesn't have any railings. So there's got to be a lot of people who just fall off to their death. Other than that though, 7 out of 10. And now, probably the most infamous part about the Order Realm is its government, which is known for being very, very strict, hence the name Order Realm. And I'm talking full years of being in jail for missing a curfew. Yeah, like, it's pretty bad. Now, would I say the Order Realm's government is corrupt? I don't think so. Is its like little police force kind of corrupt? Yes, I would say so. Hotaru is not that good of a guy, but the government itself, I don't think it's corrupt. I just think it's bad. The system prioritizes safety and organization above all else, and while yes, that's pretty good for keeping your citizens protected, it's not good for people just wanting to do stuff and be free. So while yes, it does get points for playing it super safe and making sure nobody gets hurt and everyone is protected, it's just not going to be an entertaining place to live. Like, you're just not going to be able to do much. You'll just be there and be like, dang, this is boring. I want to go live somewhere else. Give it a 4 out of 10. And that's also what it's going to get overall, a 4 out of 10, which is very unfortunate because it looks like a very cool place. It looks like a place you'd want to live. Like, hey, a city up in the sky with all these pyramids and cool stuff. I want to live there. I want to see what that's all about. But unfortunately, you really can't do much. So with that strict level of enforcement, I'm going to have to say no. I do not want to live in the Order Realm. But is it better than the opposite end of the spectrum, the Chaos Realm. Now, despite the Chaos Realm being the place of complete unpredictability, it really seems like there's only one type of thing that lives there, and that's Havoc species, which we don't know the name of. It's just kind of like weird monster people who are just kind of insane. I'll give it a 3 out of 10 because at least some of them have like minor differences to each other and they're not just like all the same, but like it's still not that fun. Geography, I think, is very cool. It's a bit unsafe, but at the same time, it's just cool to look at. Like, look at this with all the floating pillars and the kind of twisty, turny things. I think it's pretty awesome. And also, green is my favorite color, so I'm a bit biased, but just the way that there's like that green atmosphere and sky, I just love it. Imagine just sitting on one of those floating rocks and looking out into the deep green abyss and just watching all the weird stuff that happens in the sky of the Chaos Realm. It'd just be amazing. Now, when it comes to construction, it's mostly just like a bunch of floating pillars and just quite generic stuff, but hey, they're like floating, they're doing like weird stuff, and I guess that's cool, so I'll give it a 5 out of 10 for the construction. It's a bit dangerous just having like floating stuff in the sky. Like I said, with the Netherrealm, I wouldn't recommend that because like what if one falls and crushes someone and their child and their dog? That wouldn't be fun. And now we're on to the government. It is complete and utter chaos and anarchy. Anyone can do anyone they want, and unpredictability is actually strived for. It's not just like anyone does what they want. They want you to be unpredictable. It's literally something Havoc teaches Shujinko in the conquest mode of deception, like the art of unpredictability. It's awesome. But would it be a very fun place to live? I don't think so. Especially with how seemingly insane the residents of the Chaos Realm are. I just don't think it would be a good idea, and you would always be watching behind your back going, is some random person just gonna kill me one day? And that's just not a fun place to be in. So while yes, the chaos and being able to do whatever you want may be fun, there's definitely people who are gonna take advantage of that, and so you can't really trust anyone. And that just doesn't sound like a place I'd really want to be in. I want to be able to interact with other people without worrying about them backstabbing me or something. So I'm going to give the government of the Chaos Realm a 3 out of 10. And the overall score for the Chaos Realm, compared to the Order Realm, which got a 4 out of 10, I actually gave the Chaos Realm a 5 out of 10 when it comes to living conditions. I personally think the Chaos Realm would be a better place to live than the Order Realm. Sure, in the Chaos Realm there's a lot of risk of danger, but as long as you just kind of protect yourself and do what you need to keep other things from trying to kill you, it could be a pretty fun experience, as opposed to the Order Realm, which only has one way of living. There's not really much flexibility, and that's just it. Like, Chaos Realm, it has potential to be an okay living space. The Order Realm is just a very inflexible space that I just would not want to live in. But of course, a middle ground between Order and Chaos will definitely be better, which is why I think places like Adenian and even Outworld would be a better place to live, just because there's flexibility, but not flexibility to the point where, like, you have to worry about your everyday life being suddenly cut off because something random happens, but you also don't have to worry about just doing the same things over and over again every day, not being able to move out of that little path you're on. But yeah, those are the places, those are the realms. Which one would you guys like to live in? This is just my personal opinion, of course. I was like kind of acting like this was just objective, but it's not. This is my subjective opinion about all of these realms. What are your guys' opinions? Comment them in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to see my future content, make sure you're subscribed and have the notification bell turned on. And if you want other people to see this video in the recommended, make sure to give it a like. And with that being said, that's it for this video, my fellow oddities. I'll see you next time.